GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is Alex, and this is the Ramble, and we go until midnight tonight from that city you see below you. That's called New York, New York. The city's so nice, they named it twice.
Everybody, this is Ed Cramp. We talked to him a while back, and we're talking to him again. And during the break, we were talking about health. You know, when two older people get together, it becomes an organ recital. You know, we start talking about, oh, so what did you have? And I had this, and I've got this. And, you know, I trump everybody. I had cancer twice, you know. So, but, you know, at my age, I wake up in the morning and say, what is it's going to get me, you know? And I always ask the doctors, like the guy for the leukemia, I said to him, well, I said to the guy for the prostate, I said, is this the thing that's going to kill me? And he looked at me and he went, no. Like, you idiot. And that it was the same answer I got from the leukemia guy. Is this the thing that's going to kill me? No. You know, I keep waiting for that thing. What is it going to be? You know, something's got to get me. And I just feel like there's this, you know, Mr. Death over my shoulder with his scythe looking at me saying, come on, come on. You know.
Well, you got hundreds of thousands of people who care about you, and you're still very important in their life. So we got to keep you around. We got to keep you healthy.
Yeah. Well, I'm healthy. I'm more just tired a lot, you know. And I guess that's at 84, you should feel tired a lot, but I don't want to. It's not how I've felt all my life, you know. So when it starts slowing down, you start worrying about it. But we were talking about, you know, talking to you, I guess people get a real insight into what it's like to run a radio station. And in your case, you never found it a hell of a lot of fun, did you?
Well, I did. I just went through a stage, I think I told you, at Live 105 when everyone was having a good time because we changed the format and I wasn't up front with the owners. So I always had that in the back of my mind that I was lying and I wasn't being true to myself, and it bothered me. Stuff like that really bothered me, and because I could not wholeheartedly let them know this is who we are, this is what we do, this is how outrageous and crazy our morning show is. By the way, my morning guy wants to interview Louis Farrakhan. Is that okay with you? You know, those kinds of things. It was difficult. Plus, all the agita around kind of what you were, your content and your comics, who were there as guests, and they'd say some outrageous things, and they'd go up to the line, they'd maybe go over, and then they'd come back, and they go over the line, and they come back. And then when they leave, I had to go clean up the mess. I had to go
Yes.
Chinese for affirmative action every time Slayton was on, and Glad, and as I said, you know, deal with all the advertisers who were getting letters, not emails at that time or texts at that time. There's no social media, but complaints about the content of our show. And I've always believed, I'm a First Amendment guy, so I've always believed that God put the on-off button on a radio station for a reason, you know. And I used to love the calls I used to get about you, that they were going to complain to the FCC because you were so horrible, and they'd never listen to you again. And then a day later, well, here's what he said today. And then a day later, here's what he said today. So it was like they couldn't stop, you know, listening to you.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, having to deal with that, I mean, we did make little messes for you. I mean, they were little ones, you know.
Well, you know, back in those days, and this was like in the 80s, a general manager ran one radio station, just one. So all I had to do was run one. Years later, going back to the Bay Area and running a Clear Channel at that time, I ran 7 in San Francisco and 3 in San Jose. I ran 10 radio stations. And then they gave me regional responsibility. And at some point, I was up to 280 stations.
Oh, Jesus.
So you can't, and then, I'm in LA and I'm running 7 radio stations. So you can't give 7 radio stations, 10 radio stations the same treatment or the same attention as you have
Right.
one.
Right.
Can I give you an example of something? This will trigger a memory for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 1987, maybe 1988. So you used to do breakfast with Bennett. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
knows those big events that we used to have at various clubs around the Bay Area. But on Christmas time, he did something special. It was a Monday night in December. We did dinner with Schwarzman.
Supper with Schwarzman.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and we're at the Fairmont Venetian Room. Dick Bright and his orchestra, the comics, the whole thing. It was a big deal. I mean, it's really, really big. So I had invited some clients from Los Angeles.
I know the story you're going to tell. Go ahead.
Yeah, some clients from Los Angeles to come up, along with their national reps to come on board as well. So because I'm running one radio station, okay, I can deal with all this stuff, and I sit and I make the reservations for them to fly on, remember, PSA Airlines, to come up on that Monday night on the 3:30 flight from Los Angeles. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're all scheduled to come up on the 3:30 flight from Los Angeles. We're going to pick them up in a limo. We're going to bring them to the Fairmont, so they'll be there for the start of the show, which I think started at 6 o'clock. So around that Wednesday, before the Monday, I'm thinking 3:30. Let's see, there's going to be traffic coming up to 101. You know what? I'm going to put them on the 3 o'clock flight. I'm going to switch the flight.
Right.
Because I want them to get there earlier, not later. So what happened was we're waiting at the Fairmont. At the Fairmont Venetian Room. We're waiting for the group to come up from Los Angeles, and we hear that a plane went down in the Santa Barbara Hills, a PSA jet.
It was actually hijacked.
But by a former employee on the plane. But my point was, my first instinct was, oh my God, I kill these people by switching the flight.
Yes.
Okay, I kill these people. How am I going to live the rest of my life with that on me? Okay, I already told you I take things very hard. Well, it turned out that the 3 o'clock flight that they were on landed fine. The 3:30 flight that they were scheduled to be on before I moved them was the one that crashed. So in essence, I saved their lives. And there are several people on that plane who I'm still in touch with. Actually, I hired a sales manager in Los Angeles, Carol Terakawa, who was on that flight. I hired her. There were media buyers in Los Angeles that I never missed a buy from for the rest of my career because I had moved that flight. But the point is, if I was running 10 radio stations, they'd be dead because I wouldn't have had that focus and that attention to move that flight and even think about it. It would have been enough. I would have given it. I would have delegated it to somebody else.
But literally, if they had been on that other flight, they all would have been dead. You would have killed our advertisers.
Yes. Should have been a terrible thing.
Terrible. Horrible.
Yeah. But it's one of the things in my career I look at and just say, wow, that happened. Life happens and shit happens. But going back to your question about running a radio station, when you ran one radio station, that was your baby. You woke up in the morning thinking about it. You listened to it all day long. You went to sleep thinking about it. And you did everything you could to improve the ratings, the quality, improve the sales, the marketing, everything else. That's all that mattered. That was your whole life.
Yeah.
And then you're like with 10 other radio stations, and you have a conservative station, a liberal station, a country station, a smooth jazz station. I mean, you got to keep moving around and try to understand it all. And that's challenging. And actually, those were good times too. They really were.
Yeah, they were. But what happened was that the second time you fired me was when you went over to Clear Channel, and you had all these stations, but you needed somebody to do. Here's what happened. I was working I lost my job over at where did I lose it? And then I got at Live 105, And then I went up to work with my friends at Play TV up in Sacramento to start the world's first internet video channel. Okay. You got to remember, I invented podcasts. I did them when I was out of work. And I literally had somebody created a program for me where you could put it on your computer and it would go to my site. And if it saw there was a new program, it would download it. So when you came home, you had fresh Alex Bennett waiting for you. So what does that sound like? Anyway, I go over and I get a job. They asked me to come over to CNET. Remember CNET? You should remember it because one of your stations,
9:10 a.m.
9:10, they did what was called an LMA, which is they rent the channel from the owner, and then they do whatever they're going to do. Well, they fired me finally. They got rid of me because I wasn't serious enough for their channel, right? And they had a bad game plan anyway. They thought that, we're playing to the tech professional. That was how they put it. And I'm going, you do realize, this is when the whole collapse was happening in Silicon Valley. I said, you do realize there are no tech professionals left who have a job. But anyway, they let me go. 2 weeks later, they give up the channel. They turn it back to you guys.
Well, they stopped paying their LMA fee.
They started paying their LMA fee. So immediately, Clear Channel takes it back. And then you call me and say, would you come down here and do the morning show for a while till we figure out what we're going to do with it? So basically, 2 weeks after I was fired, I was back on that same channel.
Right.
And I felt very satisfied with that.
Did I pay you? Did I pay you for that?
You paid me for it, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know how much, but
You mean you don't know how little?
I'll tell you what it did is because at that time, a lot of stations were in one place. In other words, your competition could be in a studio down the hall, okay? So I would take a break, on the hour when the news went on or whatever, and I would go into the hall, and so would Jim Lang, who was working at, I can't remember, KSFO?
KBL AM.
Okay. I can't remember. There were so many stations there. And we would sit there talking for like 5 minutes. I loved him because politically, did you know he was a big left-winger?
No, I didn't talk to him that much. I was very respectful of him. I went on a cruise, a station cruise with him and his wife.
Yeah.
And as much as I was excited about going on a cruise with Jim Lang, his wife was a former Miss America.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, 1960.
Yeah. And he didn't meet her on the dating game, by the way.
No, he didn't. I remember her telling us that her skill on the Miss America pageant was sewing.
Sewing?
Well, her name was Nancy Fleming.
Yeah.
That was her.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. They were. Jim was a beautiful.
He was a nice man, really nice man. I liked him a lot. But anyway, so I'm working this thing for you, and all of a sudden the bosses from Atlanta come in. Right? Were they in a station in Atlanta? Was that where they were? It was.
No, they were in. They were. Those guys were in San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, wherever they were. The guy who ran programming is the guy that pretty much took talk shows and moved them to the right, to the extreme right. Mm-hmm. And he came into town and heard me, and I think said to you, "Is this guy kidding?"
Well, he didn't understand local radio, and he didn't understand who you were and what you meant to the marketplace and really what we're trying to do. So this was just one that, I'm proud of moves like that because it's different and it's another shakeup. And I just think that your fans were FM-based fans, and what we see is like 75% of those people are never going to go to the AM dial. So I think we didn't advertise, so they weren't really going to find you. You weren't doing exactly the same show, but I just put you on just to see if we could attract an audience.
Right.
At the same time, that station was going to be more to the right than to the left. Now, going back to Jim Lang, about a year later, I think, Air America came to me and said, we like to get on your station in San Francisco. And I said to him, well, my station in San Francisco, cable, 960, is making about $1 million in cash flow. That was okay, which is pretty good for an AM station
At that time. Yeah.
at that time. And they said, well, we'll guarantee you $1 million, and we want to put the station on. So that's what we did. So then I had Air America on the left, and then KNEW on the right. And what we tried to do at that time was, I remember we had this big promotion at City Hall where left meets right. And we had a kind of a fun debate. Back in those days, people on the left and people on the right, they seemed to get along a lot better.
Right.
Wasn't as crazy as it's gotten now, where
Yeah.
they hate each other, kind of thing like that. Gavin Newsom came in and he was the moderator, and we had people from both sides, and we had a really nice time. It was really a nice event.
Now, were you told to get rid of me?
No,
Then why did you get rid of me?
because we needed to put conservative programming on the station because they had hired Michael Savage.
Oh,
Well,
okay. All right.
So you and Michael Savage's bookends would probably not work really well. And you'd probably wind up killing each other in the hallway, during a break. So so we put him on, and the station had 0 ratings. There were no ratings at all. We were left with nothing.
Right.
And we got it to a 2 share, which is, San Francisco, that's decent. They don't have a 1 share now, in San Francisco in terms of what they're doing.
Yeah.
For that. So again, it was an attempt to kick up some sand, and we tried. And I think I was pretty upfront with you at that time. This is kind
Well,
of
in the very
experiment.
beginning, you said I may not be able to give you this job forever.
Right.
Yeah, this is a temporary measure until we figure out what we're going to do. So when you let me go, I wasn't, disappointed. It didn't come I wasn't blindsided by it. But I said, there goes Cramp again. He's got me
Yeah, there I go.
twice,
I know. I understand.
And then then at one point we had a meeting in San Francisco when I was finally at Sirius XM.
Yeah.
And you asked me if I knew anybody that wanted to do a morning show, and I kind of thought you were asking me,
Well, you had a big fan of Walter Sabo at that time, who I really respect.
Yeah.
Walter loved you and pushed you, and
Yeah. Well, he got me my job at Sirius XM.
I will say this: I've been doing this for 45 years, still kicking around the radio industry, and you, to me, are singularly the most talented, gifted person who ever sat behind a microphone that I witnessed.
Really?
Because of your wit, the way you think on your feet, I think I think you could have made a lot more money in the industry had you been a little bit more abrasive of the influencer role that a lot of these guys will do right now.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of hard for you to ingest something and say, "I love this. Come buy it." That kind of stuff. But I have the utmost respect for you, and I would say kind of was the highlight of my career of working with you. And again, I've worked with a lot of the greats, through the years. I've been blessed to work with almost everybody I wanted to work with.
Yeah. But anyway, at that meeting, you said, "Do you know anybody who wants to do it or willing to pay good money for it, or whatever it takes to get somebody?" And I basically said no. I didn't know anybody. But I thought if I had said yes, I could do it, you probably would have said, "Well, when are you moving to San Francisco?" And but I was already at Sirius XM, and it was later in my career, and I had a job that I figured I'd have for, as long as I wanted it, although I was wrong about that. But I at least lasted close to 10 years there.
Yeah.
So it was giving up a solid, it's like I said, I said this about another job. I said, well, the problem is, am I gonna continue to sit here and make, and I'll just give you a figure, $100,000 a year for the next 10, 15 years, or do I want to take a job where I'm going to make $300,000, but it might only last 6 months? It's better to keep the job that's not paying you as much.
So on when we switched to Air America, just so
Yeah.
you know this, and who was the morning man from Air America at the time? The comic from Saturday Night
Al
Live.
Franken.
Al Franken
You
was the
see,
morning
I
guy.
was involved in that whole thing with Air America, but I was one of the guys they never hired. In fact, they created the whole station originally for one particular personality. I can't remember who it was now. And
was
by
in
the
the
time they bought the station went on the air, it had different owners, and that guy wasn't even working it.
Right. Well, what we did there with the morning show was everything was we got to be hyper local, very local.
Yeah.
So what I tried to do was remember the success we had with a live studio audience.
Right.
Okay. So we hired Willie Brown
Mm-hmm.
and Will Durst.
Will Durst. Yeah.
Keeping it real with Will and Willie in the morning. And across the street from Willie's office, which was down by where the ships come in or the ferries come in.
Yeah.
It was this new hotel that was built across the street, this Italian hotel. So we invited people to come every morning to watch the show live
Mm-hmm.
and get free coffee and sit and watch a morning show. So after about 2 weeks, I kept showing up and I kept remembering the line around the block waiting to get into your show every morning on 9th Street when we were in the wino district back in the day. And no one showed up.
Jeez.
Okay? Willie Brown actually cut my ratings in half. And he was the mayor and supposed to be representative of the the left-wing community.
Yeah.
Will was great, but Willie was kind of off topic and off subject, and we were paying him a boatload of money to do that.
Wow.
So, again, so all these things I was told, you got to be hyper local, super local, all the other stuff. It really didn't work. What would have been more hyper local than having the mayor on, your local morning show?
Right, but you're assuming the mayor can
guy.
do. But you're assuming the mayor can do a radio show. It's like, for instance, whenever people wanted to compete against me, they went out and hired comics to do morning shows. Well,
Right.
comics don't work like I work. I work saying I've got to do 4 hours or 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I know how to pace myself and how to structure that. A comedian only knows how to go up for 40 minutes. And they've got 40 minutes worth of material. And a lot of these guys they hired to do morning shows that were comics ran out of material after the first half hour.
Well, that happened to George Lopez in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Well, only so many times you can make fun of Mexicans drinking beer before 10
Yeah,
in the morning.
exactly.
That was his act. That was his whole act.
Yeah.
What he's doing.
I don't know if you did we have Larry Brown on doing traffic while you
Yeah.
were there? Yeah.
Bubbles, yeah.
So were you there when he had a sponsor which was Kaiser? Okay. And he said, brought to you by Kaiser, also known as doctor-assisted suicide.
No.
And then you heard from Kaiser?
I'd probably still be at the client's office trying to get out of it. No, I don't believe I was there.
Oh,
at that
then it
time.
may have
I don't
been Pat may have had to deal with it.
Well, you would have kissed that advertiser goodbye at that moment, but that's funny. It's a funny bit,
Yeah.
The beautiful, one of the great things about your show was, again, you're trying to fill 20 hours a week of
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
And so you can't be funny all the time. There's good spots, there's bad times, but people would wait for that moment a couple of times a week where
magic happened.
That magic moment that they will take away for the rest of their lives and never forget.
Well, the thing was, what you have to do, at least in my theory, is you have to do a show that allows for that to happen.
Well, where are you going to hear
you're
a show
too safe, it'll never happen.
Well, where are you going to find a show that has what was the show? Which was oh boy, it was Buddy Love singing to who is the actor or the performer that Doc Timothy Leary and Buddy Love singing a duet together, or Buddy Love and Karen Black singing together. Those kinds of moments were outrageous. They were crazy. Plus, you had Bobcat on, you had Robin Williams on. I mean, we'd have everybody on.
Well, I didn't have under Live 105. Robin was never on. He was on the Quake once with me. Once.
Right.
Well,
I've lied. I was telling people
because
Robin
I always had kind of a contentious relationship with Robin because I didn't like him stealing material from other comics, which he was famous for doing. And I just said, I said to him once, I said, you don't do that. You just don't do that.
Did he show up at one of your shows in San Francisco, one of your comic shows?
He may have. I don't remember. He was there. He was always around. But we had kind of a contentious relationship. So he never regularly came on my show like other comics. But I mean, Bob Goldthwait, for instance, his career was made on my show. But it was a wonderful time, and I thank you for having created the canvas for me to work on.
Well, you asked me about what it was like running radio stations and the whole thing. Let me just tell you that it's a fabulous experience. Nobody today has the job we had 25, 30 years ago because we were in charge of everything and we had control of everything. And so running the stations was wonderful. The thing that wasn't wonderful was working for the owners.
Yeah.
Because I was, I always said when I was going to retire, I was going to write a memoir.
Mm-hmm.
The book was going to be called The 5 Biggest Assholes I Ever Worked For. But 3 of them made the list twice. To rethink the whole thing. But I've worked for every one of them.
Oh boy.
And aside from that, the experience has been absolutely a joy and wonderful, and I'm real grateful. I'm real blessed.
One of the things I find most pleasant is that after all these years and the fact that you fired me twice, we are still sitting here talking like this and have great respect for each other. You were doing your job, I was doing my job, and they weren't the same job. Okay, if anybody thinks they were, they weren't. Mine, I was there to try and make him money. He was out there to try and go out and make the money. Okay, so I mean, it was a wonderful relationship. Listen, this has been terrific, and let's do this again. Okay, I think people will enjoy this. They'll enjoy hearing about radio and how it works. Or how it did work. It doesn't work that way anymore. And by the way, Ed doesn't work as a general manager anymore. He works as an agent, basically.
Well, I represent a fabulous talent. His name is Pielin, and he's probably one of the most influential Hispanic broadcasters in America today. He has been for the past 25 years. I consult another company called Sun and Fun Media that also has another sister company called Key Networks. So I'm still involved tangentially in the business. I work from home. I live in the desert in Southern California, Indian Wells.
And you work out on your
This thing has kept me alive. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, listen, let's do this soon, okay? And stick around. Let me talk to you after this. But ladies and gentlemen, that's my former boss, Ed Krampf.
Now in its 9th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And we will have him back, because I really enjoy that. I enjoy talking with him, and I enjoy, well, he makes me feel a little embarrassed by how he talks about me and my meaning to him. And But I used to be a big shot, folks. There's the guy that proves it. Okay, so. Well, the other thing that proves it is we do have some people that call this program, and they are from the Bay Area, and they call this program because they remember that program. So, anyway, thanks to Ed Krampf, and I'm going to give him a call in the next day or two and set up another one of these get-togethers, because I think it's really, really cool, really terrific. We only have one person waiting right now. Is that a bit embarrassing, folks? Isn't that embarrassing? There's one person waiting to talk to me. Let me see here. So we'll go to the one person that's out there today. Where do I do this? Oh, I know why I didn't put this up. There we go. Now, I got 2 people waiting now. Oh, okay. All right. So both of them are there, and one of them is going to be Charlie Wallace, and the other one is going to be Brian Neary, and there they are. Brian Neary, there he is. Okay, there we got Brian Neary, and we got Charlie Wallace. Hello, Charlie. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah. Hi. What's your shirt say today?
There's no otter like me.
Oh, okay. I thought it'd be a scientific something, you know. But,
Well, it's from the Georgia Aquarium.
oh, okay.
To Atlanta.
All right. Hey, Kevin's coming in today. There we go. Okay, so we got a bunch.
Freeze it now. No, nobody else can come in. We're good.
This is a good panel, you know. I mean, if I only had you guys on for the next hour, I'd be very happy.
Someone's gonna ruin it.
So nobody call. Nobody else call.
Someone's gonna ruin it.
Nobody else call.
You know Tony's gonna call now.
What happened? What happened to Kevin? Where did he go?
I got kicked out.
Oh no! Just come back, okay?
We allowed you in. What are you talking about? Come on.
You know, wait, Kevin, come on back. Or it'd be funny if he couldn't get us.
How do you do this? Let's see. How do I find? I don't know how to do this.
Okay.
My first time.
He's moving his camera. He's moving his microphone out of the way.
How
so
do I
we
do
don't.
this?
You're gonna be one of the first time call. Yeah, there.
Wow.
Where is the button that
Come on, Jeff, stop it.
Jeff.
But still, Kevin, your camera looks so weird. You have these lines going across.
Yeah,
like
I know.
it's
No, that always happens when he first turns it on, and then it settles
Oh.
down and disappears.
I've got an
the
1860
hamster's got to get the engine running. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Come on, boys. What are you doing? Run.
Yeah. So anyway, how y'all doing? You doing?
I think it's his TikTok. It's his TikTok filter still on. Come on, guys.
Yeah. It's from all my dancing.
Hoochie coochie dancing.
Hoochie coochie dancing, yeah.
By the way, you
Shakes
said
around.
yesterday that of course she has no need for us. That your daughter was doing TikToks, right?
Yes.
I don't even know how to do TikTok. Do you know that? I know how to watch it, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to put myself on TikTok.
It's a weird platform.
What?
Yeah, they play like they do dances and stupid stuff. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but you were saying last night. I said, "Is she doing her hoochie coochie dances on TikTok?" And you said, "No way, I'm not letting her." Are you sure of that? Have you watched closely her?
I gotta double check again.
Yeah. Now, you know, when we say she does a hoochie coochie dance, you know, she's at an age where she doesn't really realize the implications of that, does she?
No.
No.
Well, they don't know what. Yeah,
Yeah. And so she's just dancing like she sees people dance. She watched Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, they do this thing, and they do this, and they do this.
They watch Jennifer
have
Lopez. They watch Miley Cyrus. They watch any number of people, and then they're imitating that kind of dancing. But they don't realize that dancing. God, if we did that on television back in the 60s, people would get arrested.
Yep.
You know, I mean, they had a problem with Elvis Presley's hips, okay?
And he was fully clothed.
And he was fully clothed, right? So, you know. But there's you know what I saw today? I went on, I went to X. I don't go to X that often because I never use Twitter much anyway, okay? And I went over there, and there was somebody naked. And they were whipping her. Okay, now that's on X. So apparently, he's letting a lot of stuff through that normally wouldn't have gotten through in the old days. You know?
Did he have orange hair?
Huh?
Did he have orange hair?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Did he have orange hair? Who
Orange
was getting
hair?
whipped?
No.
No, that's a peen video one.
No, but I was just amazed, because I didn't realize that he had loosened up that much over at X that he would allow that kind of stuff on. But I imagine there's nudity there now.
Well, you can draw nudity on Facebook as long as it's a drawing. It could be as explicit as hell, but it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as it's a drawing, you can't have.
What is that? Oh,
I don't know. It's one of her TikTok things. I don't know. Filter on it.
And she put a filter on there to make her face like that, right?
Yeah, and it says her favorite things, her favorite color, her favorite this.
Yeah, what's her favorite color?
Blue.
Okay.
Yeah.
What other favorite stuff does she?
Favorite candy, nerds.
Nerds?
Favorite adult, my mom and dad.
Yeah.
Favorite food is pasta. Favorite subject in school, math and writing. Phew, thank God for that.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Sport, tennis, and dance. All of a sudden, she's been having this tennis bug, so we've been going to play tennis.
Yeah, it's a neat video you put up. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she's good.
My parents, I decided I wanted to try tennis, when I was a kid. And so my parents went out and found a racket for me to use. And I started using it and suddenly realized after a while I was using like a badminton racket.
Oh,
it's kind of oval in shape rather than kind of round.
Really thin, long. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I never got in. And I didn't, what I didn't like about tennis? Chasing those damn balls.
Yeah, so when she hits it, do you think she hits it straight right now?
No.
And do you guess who goes chase the ball?
You have to go chasing the ball.
So there's tennis courts over here at the middle school. There's 4, and then it's caged in, and then there's 4, and it's all caged in. So yeah. I told her the only time we will go is when nobody's playing there at all. So like last night there were some people in this side, but nobody was here. So we go to the far side, and then because she still hits a couple balls going that way. So yeah.
Yeah. But is she enjoying it?
Goes to the opposite field.
She likes it a lot. Yeah, she really likes it. So
it's a very good sport,
Yeah. I'd like her to get some. Her dancing is one thing already, but it's nice to get another activity.
Seems like she's going to be very athletic. I mean, between the dancing and the tennis and so on, that she likes being athletic.
Yeah, my side of the family is very athletic.
And using her body for all the right things.
Well, yeah, I want to do basketball because she's so tall, but she says she likes tennis more. I'm okay. I'm not going to push you for basketball. I want you to.
Hey, listen, women's basketball is now the thing.
Yeah.
Do you know that the ratings for the Final Four for the women's basketball were higher than the ratings for the men's?
Yeah, they can't name many guys on there, and then a lot of the girls people know. So
I watched the women's game. I didn't watch the men's because I knew it was going to be a blowout.
Yeah, but I mean, what is it about the women's? Do you think that's attracting people? Because it's like I could understand it if I could understand if they were all nude, But
no, there's some great women
there's
basketball
some good players. Yeah, they're starting to really develop into good players. I mean, they could never hit a three-pointer. Now they're throwing them down like no tomorrow.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: why do you think all of a sudden they did okay? They finally became relevant. Okay, I mean, was there a certain emphasis this year put on female?
Oh, it's been developing for a while. It's been about 5 or 6 years, I think, that it's been get better and better.
Yeah.
But
you got a couple a little hangover from last year. You got a couple personalities going at it a little bit, so people want to see them play this year. So that helps, So
yeah. But nobody cared about the Final Four with the men.
I couldn't even tell you who was in it.
I can tell you. I know who won. UConn.
Yeah.
I don't know where UConn. I think is up in Alaska, isn't it? Somewhere up in Alaska.
Yeah.
Jeff will say different. All right.
Yeah, UConn. Yeah. No, but I don't care about the University of Connecticut, do I? Am I supposed to?
No.
You know. And what was that? What's that one team that they have that Jimmy Kimmel says that the school doesn't even exist?
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. Where is Gonzaga?
Eastern Washington.
Yeah.
It's like on the border of Washington and Idaho, out there.
Oh my God! I had no idea.
There's Adrian.
What?
Wonka.
Hey, it'll keep her in shape if nothing else.
Boy, she's a dancer, isn't she?
No, she's a dancer. Yep. I'm downstairs, and she does tap competition, and I hear her. I know where she is all the time. I'll hear her go to the bathroom. I hear her tap down there, and then I hear I hear her go down the hallway and go to her room.
I took tap dancing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I had a rather mean waltz clog, as they call it, which is the basic step. I mean, I tried it the other day. I tried to see if I could still do it, and I still know the step, but I can't do it as well because of my neuropathy, and I'm afraid of tripping. but the basic waltz clog, I do that, and people go, "Oh, you can tap dance?" And I go, "No, I can do the waltz clog." I also knew 4 chords on the piano when I go to sit down to play. I sit down to piano, I do the 4 chords. They were really cool chords, okay? They were like, they weren't like majors. They were minors and things like that, And people would go, "Gee, you're really good. Play some more." I said, "Nah, I'm tired for tonight. I don't want to." So that's how I did it. But anyway, so no, it was very nice to see that the women are getting their, the just desserts. Now, if they can get paid something, maybe that'd be nice.
They're pushing for it.
Of course, these are technically amateurs, right? These are not, because they're colleges, universities, but they can make money now. I saw the first ad the other day that I've seen with a basketball player from one of the universities or something who was endorsing a product. I'm going, they'd rather have that than some money from the university. They make a fortune off of that.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and they have, the college jerseys sell, and they're selling with kids' names on the back, and those kids don't get any money. I mean, yeah.
They don't get money even now?
Well, before they were getting anything, what's his name? Bush, right? Reggie Bush.
Yeah. That
was the big thing that, they're selling out of jerseys everywhere. And, he was like, 20 years ago, and he never got a dime for anything. And
but do they have to pay them now for those shirts, for the use of their name on those shirts?
I don't know.
They do.
Yeah, it's the NIL.
Okay, because it would seem wrong to me that you sell a shirt with somebody's name on it and you don't give them a piece of the action.
Right.
I mean,
it's like they own the kids. At least it used to be.
Well, exactly. What they used to think, that you're getting a free education or something?
Yeah, the scholarship was taking care of it. But half of them, they might go through 4 years of school or 5 years of school, and they get the hell beat out of them, and then they get nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't make it through. They don't make it to the NFL, and now all of a sudden they're done, and they got nothing.
Yeah, or they're just
they
not
could be
big.
Hurt.
Yeah, they could be a superstar in their school and sell jerseys and make money, and then they go to the pros and they're not as good. And
or they don't make it to the pros. Yeah,
exactly.
Most of them don't make it to the pros. Am I right about that? Yeah.
Right.
So, only the top people do. Yes, Jeff, did you have your hand up?
Yeah. My granddaughter is a real good athlete. And she plays all kinds of things. And she's at the point where she goes to this temporary games with other clinics. And they try to find out who's the best kid when they're going to get out of high school, what college they're going to go to, and what kind of skills they have. Very
You know
interesting.
something? Can I say something though that bothers me about this?
Sure.
You know, it's amazing that a lot of boneheads who play sports can get full scholarships to colleges, but people who have great brains don't get those scholarships. And I'm sure Charlie would agree with me on that. I mean, as one of those brains, did you get a lot of scholarships to schools?
Academic. I didn't get any sports scholarships.
Yeah, but the sports scholarships are more lucrative, aren't they? Because they're like full scholarships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can get both.
Yeah.
And be very good at it.
Yeah. But I just think that some bonehead who doesn't really even wouldn't normally be able to get through college, right? Gets a full scholarship to college, and then he is like, what can we call? They kind of look the other way when he does badly in his studies.
They don't basket weaving or something, for the classes.
Yeah.
They don't even go to class.
Yep.
No, half of them.
My friend went to school with Jason Kidd, never saw him in any classes.
Really? And did he graduate?
My friend did, yeah. And Jason Kidd's a very famous basketball player. Now he's a coach.
Oh, okay.
But he was so Jason Kidd got a scholarship and everything, and he went to Cal, and my friend went to Cal, and said they never saw him. So,
wow.
You went to Caltech?
No, Cal Berkeley.
Oh, okay.
Some of them will go for 5 years too.
Yeah, they can waive a year.
Right, an extra year
or whatever. Yeah.
And they can play. They can play for those 5 years.
Yeah.
They can only play for 4
and
years.
with COVID, some of them went 6 years with COVID.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Well, as someone who was never
digging up money for my daughter,
as a individual who's never going to get a what do you call scholarship either way, I'm just not one to talk.
Well, that's one thing I've always respected Northwestern for is they didn't do that. You had to take real classes. I mean, I had football players in my physics classes, and they were doing the coursework.
Oh, yeah.
BSing.
I think Stanford also, right? They have a very large. They're very, very strict on that grades and everything.
In other words, you can't just get a sports scholarship. You got to use it.
I know Oregon is like that as well because my daughter had some of the Bo Nix was in a couple of classes that she knows of, and he's the quarterback. He was there for 6 years and he took classes. And a couple of the defensive players were in one of her class.
But if you're there for 6 years, do you get to play for 6 years or really?
Well, that was only because of COVID.
Yeah.
They had special.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, weren't sports kind of suspended during that period of time too?
Definitely.
Yeah, but they had that. They had that bubble thing where they played and nobody was around and stuff like that. So they kind of extended things too.
Baseball, they put out the not cardboard, but the cutouts of people.
Cardboard people. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I almost bought one too.
Could you buy those?
Oh yeah, you could
buy it yourself. Yeah.
The Niners were selling them for I can't remember how much they were. They were like.
I went to some place I can buy them now, and I'll take down this green screen and just put a whole bunch of people in back of me.
There you go.
Then we'll never call.
I think Tony could buy that. Right?
Well, no, I'll also send you all a bunch of those stand-ups too, so you can put them in back of you. So be fun. Anyway. So let me see here. So everybody's getting really in a great anticipation of the Trump trial, which starts Monday, which should provide us with no end of entertainment.
Wait to hear Stormy Daniels.
Huh?
Can't wait to hear Stormy Daniels on the stand.
Yeah. She's looking a little long in the tooth, though. Have you seen her lately? She's getting to look like, an old kind of mom who lives in a she's not. Well, I never found her sexy anyway. You know.
Are they going to bring in the other one too? What the heck was her name?
Oh yeah, the people forget about her.
Oh yeah, there was this other woman who.
Yeah, they're going to bring her in too.
I don't know.
The Playmate.
Yeah,
that's right.
She's a lot better looking, actually.
Oh, she was great looking. But here's the thing. Well, I'm wondering though.
McDougal, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, if they're bringing her in, is she part of this case of paying hush money?
But did they pay her off too?
Yeah, they paid her off too.
She's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's part.
So I mean, but the hush money thing, are they specifically aiming in on the Stormy
Daniels? Is it one check or
thing?
2 checks?
Yeah. You know, I mean, I just want to hear her testimony. Are you sure it was Donald Trump? Well, nobody has a mushroom dick like that. I mean, I thought it was, excuse me, my eyes are burning tonight. We have allergies starting now. Do you remember the whole thing with Bill Clinton? I thought it was just ridiculous that we were talking about him getting head from, this woman. Not in the Oval Office. He took her to a side office to do it. But I know why he only got head from her. Because that way he could say, and some guys are this way, that I never had sex with that woman. And a lot of guys, including myself, don't figure I've had sex with a woman if all I got was a swirly or whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to keep it clean so I don't get demonetized.
Swirly. Swirly?
But no, I mean, but it was fun to hear that going on, and them all talking about it and everything, because this is the government, for crying out loud, But anyway, so Bree's coming here. Let's see here. Come on, Bree. Just flick the switch on. There you go. There he is. Oh, there he is. And we're looking at him between his 2 monitors, right?
Jail cell.
His jail cell.
His jail cell. Yeah. What are you in jail for?
I am not with him.
Oh no, he's on a plane or private plane.
Train.
Oh, train. Ah, that's right.
Yeah.
What is that? It looked to me
Looks like he's going 190 miles an hour in the window there.
Yeah, but what is that, Bree? Can you tell us? Oh, you're in a plane. No,
train. I'll bet.
Is that a train?
Let's guess where Bree is now.
Where are you, Bree?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case,
it's called BFE.
Yeah, he's our version of Carmen Sandiego.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you on a train?
No.
Are you on a plane?
No.
Bus.
Are you on a bus?
Yes.
Boy, those are nice buses.
Yeah, look at those seats. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
How many people are on the bus with you? How many people are on the bus with you?
Very few today. There are not that many.
Yeah. And where are you going on the bus? You're going home? You going?
No. I'm going down to Singapore for the weekend.
Oh, okay. All right. I always like going down to Singapore on the weekend myself.
Yeah. Why not?
Do the wheels on the
and
bus
then
go
next
round
month
and
I'll be
round?
back in Thailand.
In Thailand, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's next month.
That's next month. I guess I should probably go to that part of the world. That sounds like a nice place to be.
It's on my bucket list.
Huh? It's on your bucket list?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's on my bucket list. KFC. It's on my bucket list.
All right.
I had to say it. Okay, sorry. It's the law. I'm supposed to do that. But anyway, so we had a major death today.
Yes, sir.
Orenthal is gone.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yep, he's still looking for the real guys.
Yeah, well, he died of, supposedly it was prostate cancer.
That's what he said.
Well, there are some people who are disputing that, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know, I think he was actually killed by Papa Goldman. You know.
Cancer is disputing that.
The cancer is disputing that, yeah. No, but how do you feel about that? You know, Marjorie went, "I'm glad he's dead." Well,
good for him.
Everybody's going to die eventually.
Yeah.
You know, some earlier than others. He was what, 76?
Yep. I got 2 more years.
Huh?
I got 2 more years.
Yeah. But I mean, he's 70. He was 76, and he got cancer, got prostate cancer, and you know, he's gone. But you know, I mean, he, you know, that whole trial, pretty much by the time that trial was over, his life was pretty much over, even though he wasn't found guilty. Okay, and his life never got back to any kind of semblance of respectability.
He didn't help it any either.
Huh?
He didn't help it any
No,
either.
he didn't. No, he didn't. You know, I mean, no, you're right. He didn't do anything to help it. So, you know, I mean, I'm going to be doing an interview with Chuck Farnham in a couple of days, and we're going to talk about it because he was at the OJ trial.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He managed to get into a lot of places. We should talk about that and all the serial killers he knew.
My attorney worked for F. Lee Bailey. My attorney did.
Really?
Yeah. Right after he was done, he went into business for himself up there in Marin County.
Who? Bailey?
No, my attorney.
Oh, okay.
I used for my leg.
Yeah, F. Lee Bailey was one of them. One of the attorneys. Another very famous attorney, Johnny Cochran. Who else?
Or the Kardashians.
That's right, Robert Kardashian.
That's right.
Kim's dad.
Yeah. Who named himself after his daughters. No, but Kardashian and Kardashian in later years kind of regretted being part of that team. I think he actually felt he was guilty, but he couldn't come out and say it at the time. But he didn't. He was not happy with it at all. But you know, I mean, that legal team did a good job. You know, they did a terrific job, and if I was ever accused of murder, that's the lawyers I would immediately go to. But Kardashian is dead, and what's his name is dead. Johnny Cochran is dead, and I believe is F. Lee Bailey dead? I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Kardashian dead?
Yeah, Kardashian's died years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he died when the girls were young, really young.
Oh, okay. I think I remember that. I just don't remember it.
Yeah. So pretty much that whole legal team is gone. I think the guy who did the DNA stuff.
What about Judge Ito? I think he's dead too, right?
Is Judge Ito dead?
Judge Ito?
Echo? Is Judge Ito dead?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, sadly he is.
Sadly he is.
Oh, he's gone.
Sadly he is, yeah.
She said it in a very sad voice.
Bailey died in 2021.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How old was he?
He was 87 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
87.
You got to realize, when did that trial take place?
It was in 1994.
93?
Lance Ito is still alive.
Huh?
Lance Ito is alive.
Lance Ito?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's alive.
Oh, is he?
Echo, is Judge Lance Ito alive?
Judge Lance Ito is still alive.
He's still alive.
He's 73 years old.
He's 73 years old. Okay. I just said, is Ito alive? And he, yeah. So, trial of the century, they called it. Although not this century.
That was riveting.
Huh?
And what's the whole story with Hasselhoff, right? Wasn't David Hasselhoff like on the verge of like being a superstar in his singing? And they were doing some big concert. I think they were putting the concert on TV, like a live concert or some concert from Germany or something. And it was gonna be played that night, and then all of a sudden that the whole chase happened, and they killed his special, and that was supposed to like catapult him because he was such a big star in Germany and something like that.
Yeah, but you ever hear him sing?
Yeah.
He probably did his career a favor by not running that.
I was close. The OJ trial was 1995.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I was going through my divorce and I had plenty of time to watch it.
Get a room with cowlings. Come on, Nick. I'll never forget that night. My brother was at the Knick game. Me and my mother watching the game. And they flashed away to the game. They put the game small. We thought he was going to blow his brains out right on TV. It's unbelievable. That's it.
Well, I tell you, I had an argument with people constantly on the air about this. I'm one of these people that believes that, if a person is found not guilty in a court of law, then you have to, in being a good American, assume his innocence. Okay? And there were people going, he's guilty. And I'm going, but you can't do that. You can't do that and have a decent justice system. You have to assume that, hey, you can think whatever you want to think, but legally, he's not guilty.
Yep. Innocent until proven guilty.
Yep.
They had his DNA though.
No, but now you're
know what it was?
No, they didn't. Maybe they didn't have his DNA. Maybe those cops did plant the stuff where they wanted to, like they claimed. Okay. And got a jury to believe.
I mean, Furman fucked the whole case up. Really.
He did.
He fucked the case up. Whatever he shouldn't have been at the site. Whatever he lied, he planted it. They had to take all the shit that he said and throw it out. That's how they lost the case.
Yep.
And that's the LAPD. I mean, gun to your head, Alex, do you think he did it?
Do I think he did it? I wasn't there.
No, but
really,
I'm being
very honest with you. I wasn't there. All I know is what I heard in the trial. And if I were let's put it this way, if I were a jurist on that trial, a juror on that trial, I think I would have voted for acquittal. And I'll tell you why. Because I think that you have to sit there as a member of the jury, and you only are going to watch what you're allowed to watch. Sometimes they make the jury go away for a while they discuss something and whatever. So based on what the jury heard, I would think that you might say not guilty, and the case that was being made. Now, you can think whatever you want to think, but I think that if I were on that jury, I probably would have voted for acquittal. What did you hear that proved he was guilty?
I'd have to look at the evidence again, but from what I remember, they had a lot of DNA evidence on him.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
I'd have to look.
If I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but I don't think they had that much DNA.
I think they did have DNA.
I think they had a lot of DNA, and the thing was that somebody else was there, actually did it, and he was just there, but they said that that's the only DNA they found.
DNA that he was there at some point.
Yeah.
So he could have just gone over to see his ex-wife.
Yeah, but then they said, but if there was somebody else, if he was, because they said maybe his son, they said there's no DNA of anybody else but him. The only DNA they found was his.
They did have his DNA.
When the DNA was left.
What?
There's no way you can tell when the DNA was left.
Right.
It could have been left a week before the murder.
I mean, the state did not do a very good job of proving that.
Those gloves did not fit, and if they don't fit,
don't fit.
Yeah, that was smart by him because the glove probably shrunk.
Well, the gloves probably shrunk.
So, you know, my friend, he probably posted it too. So my friend's a big 49er fan. They've had tickets forever. When OJ was doing the announcing at one of the games, my friend got a picture with him, and he has gloves on.
I like to see that. Send it to me.
Yeah.
I'll never forget my brother. He's going to kill himself, Anthony. I said, Mom, we may be seeing this live. I said.
Well, I have some video of OJ because when I was at the Olympics in Barcelona, we went up to this church up on the hill, and OJ walked right by me, and I took some video of him. You know, so I think, in fact, I still have the footage somewhere. I think it's in my locker in California.
You know what I was going to ask you too, Alex? I told this to my sister. I don't know. I kind of hope the family does where they give the brain, where they could do the CT scan where if he had that disease, because I have a feeling he had a mental illness where he got hit too many times in football.
Well, I
can see him with that.
There's always that possibility. But
then
still,
he actually,
getting hit in the head repeatedly still does not excuse you from killing your wife. Okay.
No, but these guys could
you had a brain injury? Oh, go ahead, kill a few more people while you're at it. You know.
It's still sad because he was a hell of a football player.
He was I never saw him. How great was he, Charlie?
Anyway, what
he for 2,000 yards in like 14 games.
You forget a great actor.
Hurts. Those were great commercials. Remember jumping over with the suitcase?
He was entertaining as an actor. I'll say that.
He was funny. I thought. Wasn't he in the Naked? Was he in the Naked?
Yeah, Naked Gun.
Naked Gun.
Yeah, he was good, Leslie Nielsen. I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked the juice actually.
He could run the football.
Well, I mean, he at one point was one of the most bankable people in the business because he was very likable. He had what they call a good Q rating. You know, everybody loved the juice. You know.
You know what I was going to tell you, Alex? I found the clip. He was on the Lucy show on One in Color.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I just saw it on YouTube before I was looking at it. I was, holy shit, the juice was with Lucy. How dangerous can he be?
Yeah. You know, but I mean, he was a very.
Really old.
They loved using him in commercials because they could sell a lot of product with him. He had one of the most perfect reputations of anybody in the business. I mean, all America loved him. And then he got grouchy one night and maybe killed his wife, and they don't like him anymore. You know.
But Chris Rock. Chris Rock has a really good whole thing about that whole thing. It was really funny, and he just talks about giving back then OJ was giving her like $25,000 a month for child support, and he would just say that he doesn't know if he's guilty, but he understands, you got this young kid driving your Ferrari that you gave to your ex-wife. He goes, I don't know if he killed her, but I understand.
I understand, yeah.
You got this kid living at her house, fucking her guy, this is so funny.
Well, it was kind of like, who was it? Maybe it was Chris Rock. I'm trying to remember who was making. Oh, no, it was, what's his name?
Chappelle?
Chappelle. I
like Chappelle.
Chappelle, who was talking about Cosby and saying, Cosby donated an incredible amount of money to scholarship funds to black colleges.
Yeah.
And he did all kinds of benefits to raise money for scholarship funds. It was his big deal. Supporting scholarship funds, supporting black youth to go to college and so on. He said, and then he gets this thing thrown at him, and he says, you got to take the good with the bad. He says, everybody suddenly forgets all the good that Cosby did. And he said, we should remember that part of it too,
And he was clean. And he was clean. Remember that one special he had? I watched that thing 100 times. I could tell you, I could read that thing almost from start to finish. It was so hilarious. But then you got the other side, you know. So.
He always worked.
I can't bring myself to throw away all these LPs I got of his.
Hey, listen, he was a great stand-up comic.
Yeah, they're still funny.
But the question is, do we throw out the good? Do we throw out the good with the bad? And
no, we shouldn't.
We shouldn't. You know, if he was a great
but
comic.
I think a lot of people do all that good, and then they think that gives them the right to do the bad in a way. You know what I mean?
I don't. You know.
Yes. I agree.
You know, I think that what Cosby did was despicable.
Yeah.
Okay, if he did it, and apparently he did, and he was found guilty of it, so I can say that it was despicable. But you know, at the time when he first started doing that, it was not uncommon for some people to take that opportunity to drug women, to do all kinds of things, and not have to have any consequences for their actions. So in the period of time when he did it, there were a different set of values. Now, that's not to say they were right.
Yeah.
You know, but the question is, do you hold somebody to account for that if at the time when he did it, like these producers, we all talked about the casting couch in Hollywood, right? We knew it existed, and we laughed a little when we talked about it, you know? And while I would never use it if I were in that position, because that's not the kind of person I am, I understand that if it was a common practice there, that a lot of people would do it. And then when it was suddenly wrong to do it, if they kept doing it, as Weinstein kept doing, then they're guilty of something. But if they stopped, do we hold them to account for that mindset at that time? I mean, I can think terribly of that person, but do they have to be held account for it? You know, who is Eddie F? I don't know who Eddie F is.
Neither do we.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I will just I will put my face up here. See.
Yeah, but we still have to see
wait a minute. He hung up. He hung up already. Okay. Well,
Alex, and none of us can imagine this. Only you have a taste of this. Is I think when these stars get so big and everybody, you know, is yes, and wants to be there and do everything and all that stuff. Then, like Bree was starting to say, it's like, geez, you think you can get away with anything? You know, it's like everybody's there telling you what you can do. I mean, you had some of that, right?
Well, I mean, I had my share of good sex with women who wanted to have sex with me because I used to be a big shot, right? And I guess some of them could come back and accuse me of something if they were crazy enough, but I was always a gentleman about it. I would never force somebody into that. You know, they would almost have to make the move. I would not make the move. Yeah. Yes.
I think some of these stars
I never took advantage of that.
Yeah. I never really took advantage of it. Yes, Tony.
I was going to ask you this. Did it ever bother you, Alex?
You're going to ask me this? Okay.
Yeah, I'm very sincere. Yeah,
I better move to the side when you ask me the question.
Did you ever get annoyed though, like when somebody would say, like, not that I'm meaning in a bad way, like when they wanted to be your friend, say because say if you had certain clout, did you ever get turned? Like I could see, like I would get a little turned off, like I wouldn't know who to trust anymore. Then you know what I'm saying? Like who do you know?
Yeah, that's
true.
Like,
I had a hard time trusting a lot of women who would come on to me.
They could trap you, no?
Well, no, they couldn't. In those days, there wasn't that going on, but they could trap you in one way or another. You know, I had one woman who I never met in my life tell her father I got her pregnant. She used to listen to me on the radio every morning, and when he said, "Who got you pregnant?"
I remember that.
Really?
She the first name she could come up with is me. So now I get a call from the father saying to me, "How you got my daughter pregnant?" I said, "Who's your daughter?" And he said whatever her name was or whatever. I said, "Listen, I've had sex with a lot of women in my life, but she isn't one of them. You know, I never met her in my life." I said, "She's lying."
I got I got a weekend gig because of something similar to that. This club called me up, and I worked on the College Station. They said, "Can you DJ at the club?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I can spin records." And so I said, "Why do you need me? Why isn't DJ Spike doing it?" And they told me. They said that there was a father who was coming around to find him, and he had to lay low for 3 days. So they gave me the job, and I thought, I hope he knows what DJ Spike looks like.
Yeah.
And that I'm not him, because I'm going to be in the DJ booth. And sure enough, there was a guy who came, this big guy, and he came and looked at me, and then he left. But I knew that was the father who was looking for the other DJ.
Yeah. Wow. Well, these kind of things happen, But that was a different time. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't some women out there who could be crazy. I don't think I thought about my entire life back then, and I tried to remember all the women that I had sex with, and I have to admit to you, I don't remember all of them. The good ones I remember. And I kept trying to think, is there any woman out there that could say something about me who wasn't crazy, okay, and made erroneous claims? And I thought about it, and I said, no, there really aren't. But I don't know if maybe one of them wasn't a little crazy, and would just say I did something to her that I didn't, because I was always a gentleman. I never wanted to have sex with anybody who wouldn't want to have sex with me. Okay, so I always waited for the woman to come on to me before I would do anything. So it's all water under the bridge. But as Chappelle said, he did on one of his specials about Cosby. He just said, you got to take the good with the bad, and he did a lot of good stuff. And we shouldn't forget that just because he did a lot of bad stuff. So, anybody disagree with that contention?
Just wouldn't trust any of my girls who are friends around him. That's all.
Nope.
Well, how many?
What was? Do you remember, Alex? What was the penalty for Cosby?
The penalty?
Because I remember hearing that. I thought it was too much.
Well, he got sent to prison.
Yeah,
I think, what was it, 15 years, something like that? And I think they released him. They released him. I don't think they released him on a technicality. I think it was because of his health.
Because he was blind. He was blind.
Yeah.
He was blind.
They didn't want to have to put like Braille on all the elevators and stuff like that.
Didn't Weinstein do the same thing? All of a sudden, he got blind or something?
No, he wasn't blind. He couldn't walk. He was walked in with a walker.
Oh my God, these guys! So
well, I think to begin with, all right, this is how I always felt about Weinstein. A terrible person. Terrible what he did to these women. The kind of power he wielded, and then he used that to make them feel, if nothing more, terribly uncomfortable, and at the most, terribly horrible about themselves in the aftermath. Just a terrible human being. But everybody in Hollywood knew what Weinstein was doing. I knew it, and I was in San Francisco, and I was never in Hollywood, and I knew about it. Everybody in show business knew about Weinstein. And when somebody'd say, oh, Weinstein came on to me, he showed up without his bathrobe on or whatever, and they go, well, we told you not to go up to Weinstein's room. So people knew this for years, and yet, when they finally catch him, oh, this is terrible, this is horrible. Well, you know who's also culpable and guilty? All the other people who knew what he was doing and didn't say anything about it because they were afraid that Hollywood would take out reprisals on them if they had said anything about it. So, it's a bunch of people being hypocrites in Hollywood, if you want my opinion. I still think it's, I don't know. How many years did he get? Like 3,000 years or something? I don't know. What was it today? There was somebody got a sentence of something like 35 years for doing something. And I looked at Marjorie and I said, isn't that a bit much? You know, we give out these very heavy, high sentences for everything, which they don't do. Will you agree with me on this, Bree, that in countries you've been in, when they send people off to jail, it's not like for 35, 40 years, right? They give them a reasonable sentence, send them to prison, and hope that, you know, they, you know, but it might be 10 years or something.
Yeah, but don't they?
Wait, hold on a second. Let me hear what Bree has to say. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends on which country you're in, but yeah, like in Singapore, they want to get you readjusted, get you back into society.
Yeah.
You know, the recidivism rate.
Yeah, and in
states are responsible because if you know, we have different levels of lawyers, public defenders, and different states and different politicians. You know, so all of that gets mixed up.
In Singapore, don't they have whipping?
Caning. Remember the kid?
They have caning. Yep.
Yeah.
That kid. Remember?
What was interesting? There was a story recently about I forget where this business was. Somewhere in Asia. I don't want to label the country, but there was a cafe where the employees would get caned if they were late for work. And I read about this. You can Google it. And the owner said, well, he used to dock their pay. He would take away pay. But then they voted that instead of getting docked their pay, they would prefer to be caned. But
Wow. Oh, that's certainly weird and changed.
Wife could only get half.
Yeah, that's
you can look that up on Google. It's true.
Wow.
But at one point, didn't they have laws, and I remember this back in probably the 70s or 80s, that they would actually put people in jail for long periods of time for littering in Singapore?
Yeah. You remember that kid? Yeah. That kid got caned, right?
Yeah, he got.
I mean, that's what when I used to work. I used to work over there, I talked to the guys that used to fly over here from Singapore almost once a week, and they were dying to get over here to America for a week while they sat here. But they were couriers, and they'd tell us the horror stories about that shit. Oh no, you don't drop a piece of paper, or they'll put you in jail for it.
But wasn't there a kid like in the 80s, American kid, and he spit gum? Didn't he spit gum out on the street or something? And he got sentenced to caning or something?
No, it wasn't. No, that wasn't. He did more than that.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah.
There you can see. There's the case.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So.
I don't know if that's readable.
Hot pot eatery. That's funny.
Yeah. Where was it? Let me see where that was. Yeah, but no, Michael Fay that's a long story, but everybody in Singapore knows that name. He was doing vandalism.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily talking about that case.
By the way, before we go close off tonight, I want to say that somebody nailed it last night and said that with his new haircut, Tony looks exactly like Zippy the Pinhead.
I like it too.
Look at that. See the face? Look at it. It's Zippy the Pinhead.
Yeah, I do. I do look a little bit like that. And my mother always liked this haircut, Alex. I always had to get it short.
Yeah, you get. Anyway,
Alex, is Jack on after you tonight?
No, he's not.
Jack's not on after me again.
Jack off.
Jack's off. That's right. It's Amy Emanuel.
Amy's on, Jack off.
There. I still never figured out how to do the Skype to call her.
Yeah. Well, anyway, hey, listen, that's it for us right now, and I'm playing the theme song. I want to thank you all for joining us. I want to thank Brian for joining us, and the lovely and attractive Charlie Wallace, and Kevin, and Jeff, and of course from Malaysia on a bus, which those are lovely buses. We've got the musical strains of Bree. And finally, Tony, thank you so much to all of you, and every one of you give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you as well. There they go, folks. That's our people. Okay. It's really, what a time we have here. where I do these shows and I can have somebody in like me in New York, and with just as clear a picture on a bus traveling through Thailand or Malaysia or whatever. It's amazing. Just an amazing time technologically. Anyway, Amy Manuel is next. She's here with the oh boy, with her program, and she'll be taking your calls on Skype at the intersection. Okay, she'll be taking your calls on Skype at GabNet Live. I'll see you again tomorrow night. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. Push the wrong button.